Welcome to Fierce Encouragement. This is the podcast where we tackle life's struggles with boldness, wisdom, and some practical tools. Now, my name is Mark Walker. I'm a life coach. I'm a meditation instructor. I'm also your guide to navigating the messy middle between where you are and where you want to be. So here at Fierce Encouragement, we blend modern science and timeless wisdom to help you master your own mindset, to cultivate that inner balance in your life, and also to take those courageous steps towards your goals and projects. So whether you're a leader, a new leader, maybe a learner, or just somebody who's ready for some change, well, this is your space for some real talk and some powerful insights and some fierce encouragement to help you live with purpose and confidence. Thanks for being here. Before we begin on today's episode, I just wanted to ask you, now if you're ready to create more clarity and balance and have that mental focus in your life, I would really love to help. I'm a certified heroic coach and a full-time meditation and mindset trainer, and I work with people and leaders who are driven, who want to unlock their potential without burning out. You can visit markwalkercoach.com or check the show notes and apply for a free short clarity call with me to see if my coaching style might be the right fit for you. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy today's episode, and here we go. Thanks again for joining me here on Fierce Encouragement. The title of this episode today is Busy Isn't Broken: Unlocking Your Most Precious Resource. So this episode is around that concept, that idea of I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, my to-do list is too long. And especially this time of year, perhaps when you're listening to it, just that overwhelming sense of having too much to do. It can block us on all fronts of our life, even if it's just in our exercise and movement programs, or perhaps it's in our nutrition protocols, or maybe it's something as simple as just getting a new resume out there or looking for that next task or action at your work. But I want to start with empathy. So if we're just really honest with ourselves, I'm sure we've all thought from time to time, I just don't have the space and time for coaching or help right now. Well, you're not alone. I hear this all the time as a coach, trying to help people and bring new tools and new methodology, but most importantly, new accountability and new support and new encouragement to people. I hear it from busy parents. I hear it from tech leaders, entrepreneurs as well. It seems like we're all juggling those endless to-do lists, and they can feel overwhelming. So I think the first thing to do in this is just to start with empathy. We can acknowledge the struggle against these to-do lists and this constant race, this rat race, if you will. It usually hovers between work and family and all those other requirements we kind of feel screaming at us from society. And it's easy to start thinking consistently, there's no way I can fit something else in. There's absolutely no way I can fit anything else in my life right now. Now, I've been there. Again, I hear this from my clients all the time, and I think it's really important that we create a connection here. The connection would be, what if I told you that coaching isn't just another thing to do? It's actually the thing that can make everything else in your life easier and flow. It's really important to start with empathy, understand we are struggling, and to shift our mindset around coaching and help, that it's something that can help us be more present and help us in those struggles. It makes everything easier. So it's kind of around that. We want to reframe that objection that we have in our head, right? We want to reframe that pushback. And instead of just doing the same things over and over, we want to shift our own perspective. When we say things like, I don't have time right now, or I don't have the space in my life, what we're really saying to ourselves is, I'm not sure this is worth prioritizing right now. I'm not sure if this is a priority for me in this moment. And honestly, that's okay. It is very important to validate and question how we spend our time. I think it's vital that we sit back or push back from the table and make sure this is something we want to spend our precious attention and awareness and time with. So I guess I picture it as just kind of putting on a new lens on our camera, right? Coaching and support is about that. It's about sharpening the tool we have before we start chopping the wood. It's about sharpening our axe before we start to take swipes at the tree. Yeah, it takes a little time up front, but I tell you, when you sharpen and spend that time sharpening up the axe of your mind, of your body, and your process, it can make the effort more easy. It can make it, again, flow a little bit faster, and it can make it way less exhausting to have that support and encouragement. And quite frankly, that kind of mirror to look in, to get that reflection back, to see if it is working. One of my favorite authors, and I'm sure you've heard of him, and he's since passed away, but Stephen Covey talked a lot about this. And one of the quotes that I love from him is this: "The key is in not spending time, but investing it." The key is not in spending time, but investing it. I think that's a really important thought to look at when we start talking about kind of quantifying or looking at where we spend our time. Coaching and getting help and getting support is an investment in you. It's in getting more clarity and focus and ultimately long-term success in the project that is your life, that is your career, that is your workouts and your exercise program, your nutritional protocols, but most importantly, that big relationship you have with others and with yourself. Coaching is an investment in clarity, focus, and long-term success in your life. So let's really reframe that pushback that you don't have time and maybe think about it and shift that perspective. Look at it through a new lens and see it as part of your long-term success in getting focus and clarity. Now, a real-life example for me is when I go back and look at some clients that I've been serving over the past 2 to 3 years. I had a tech leader that was just way overwhelmed. He had back-to-back-to-back meetings on Zoom, as we all know in this kind of hyper-connected world. And if you're a leader or have worked on the Zoom and those virtual meetings, sometimes we just have them back-to-back where we don't even have a minute to get up and take a breath. Or if we do, we kind of feel like we're letting somebody down by, missing the first few minutes of a meeting or maybe not speaking up for ourselves. But my client had those back-to-back-to-back meetings, those never-ending deadlines. And when we first started meeting, he honestly pushed back on coaching. He said he just did not have the time. But I tell you, after a few sessions with him and kind of going through some process, doing a little audit, his direct quote back to me was, it feels like I've reclaimed 10 hours a week. Coaching didn't take time. In fact, it gave me more time. So what changed? What changed for this client? Well, number one, we identified where his energy leaks were. We found out where he might be spending a half hour or 20 minutes on some place where he just wasn't really invested in. It might be just a natural reaction to jump on Twitter or jump on a sports match that he saw on TV. But when we started to audit his energy and found out where those leaks were, we really streamlined all of his priorities. And in fact, he started investing in those relationships and projects that meant something to him. We really can dive into that personal connection. And honestly, I felt this too. There's moments when my life feels way too full to hit the pause button. But honestly, every time I've met with my coach and the people that have supported me, it always, usually more than likely, especially if I feel overwhelmed or overburdened, it always comes back to that idea of slow down, reflect. And this has been a huge game changer in my life. So again, let's remember that we can reframe this and we can start to look at it with a new mindset, or at least a fresh mindset. how can help and coaching and encouragement save time every week for you? What can change in your life with an audit, and what can streamline for you and your priorities and your tasks throughout the week? Now, if you'd like some help or some support in auditing or taking a good look at your own energy and work practices, again, feel free to head to the show notes and apply for a quick clarity session with me. Otherwise, to move on to the next part I wanted to talk about or offer to you as a listener some tools and some things you can practice with as you go into your week and your day. So this first exercise, I'd like you to ask yourself, maybe tomorrow morning or tonight before you go to bed, what's one thing I can let go of today to create space for what really matters to me? Again, ask yourself in the morning as you arise from sleep, or perhaps right before you lay down to rest tonight. Ask yourself this question and think deeply on it. What's one thing I can let go of today to create some space for what really matters? It could be 10 minutes of scrolling social media, saying no to that, or perhaps it's creating those boundaries and that space on your work calendar so you can take that walk, or maybe just have that down deregulation time and let yourself relax for a few minutes with a breathing practice. Maybe that is one thing you could let go of today and tomorrow to create that space for yourself. So that's a really space creation exercise. When we start to think on it in the morning and at night, it literally kind of seeds or plants that seed in our mind of finding out those spots or that space in our day where we can work on what really matters to us or put our attention on that. The second tool I wanted to offer, or the second thing of value that I think has really helped me, and I've seen it and reflected back from my clients, practical insight. Now, even 15 minutes of sitting on a focused reflection, or even in good coaching session, now this can unlock hours of clarity for you. I felt it with my coaches, but when we can have that practical insight, even in just 15 minutes with a good conversation with somebody who's focused on hearing the words we're using and kind of reflecting back what they're hearing, it really helps add more value to your day, to your week. It literally is not about subtracting. It's about adding more value to your conscious time. It's serving you from a very deep level. Again, we might get caught in that surface level of social relationships and maybe the habits that we do. Maybe it's the same place we go to dinner or the same actions we have with our family or friends. But when we look for practical insights, again, even 10, 15 minutes of focused reflection or coaching can really unpack hours and weeks of clarity for you. It's about giving you space, not subtracting, but clearing out and giving you space in your life. The last tool I'd like to share, and this is something that I've shared throughout the episodes in Fierce Encouragement, or at least implied, is using the mindset tool. When we think about our mind and that our time that we spend thinking, we can kind of look at it as a garden. And I love the verb cultivate. When we want to have a healthier mindset, when we want to build up a healthy garden, it takes time, and weeds grow naturally. The negative mindset is something that is easy and biologically has been shown to be more natural to our mind and our thinking process. We remember the negative things so that we don't repeat them. But the problem is that ancient architecture of our cognition kind of hijacks our positive or our forward-looking mind that can be there. So when we want to cultivate a mind like a garden, we need to understand that weeds will grow naturally. But when we intentionally plant and prune our garden and weed, the flowers and the fruits and the things that we want to burgeon forth thrive. So really think of your mind as a garden and see that your mindset tool is pruning and planting and cultivating or curating that idea of helping those plants that you want to grow. So those are some tools and value that I just wanted to get back. Again, that mini exercise that we can do in the morning, asking ourselves where we can create more space in our day, what can we let go of, plugging into those 10-15-minute conversations that can really help us unlock hours, maybe even weeks of clarity, and even this mindset tool. It's really about pruning and cultivating our garden and letting it grow naturally, but not letting the weeds take over, intentionally planting and pruning those things we want in our day, in our week, and in our life. And to kind of finish up here, I'd really love just to encourage you towards action. I'd love to encourage you to take more time to find clarity and space in your life. And like I said at the beginning, I would love to hop on a free 15-minute strategy call with you to explore where you might be feeling stuck and what might be holding you back. And honestly, just remember this. You don't need hours and hours of coaching or consulting or work on yourself to create a meaningful shift in your life. Sometimes all it really takes is just one small step forward. So grab some time on our calendars. Otherwise, please respond. Let me know how this episode impacted you. And other than that, I really hope you have a great day or a great evening wherever you're at. And you know what? Just remember that it isn't about trying to put more into your day. It's about creating valuable action and alignment in your life and really using the time you have to get clear on what is the most important thing to you in your life. Again, thanks for joining me on this episode of Fierce Encouragement. Take a minute to leave a review for the show if you really like it. Otherwise, I'd love to hear back from you, see how these episodes are landing. I always really enjoy hearing from my listeners. But past that, just take a couple minutes and apply to work with me. If it's something where you want some help, I'll take a look at your application and see if we might be a good fit for each other and reach back out to you. You'll find the link in my show notes. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, wherever you're at. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next episode of Fierce Encouragement.